What's up? It's Dean back with another episode of Day in the Life. We just picked Ethan up at the train station because he fell off a skateboard and broke himself. So he happens to be, the train station happens to be right down the street from the dealer for the equipment, and we bought like a couple $5,000-ish worth of equipment, so we got 20% off Echo, which is amazing, and they're awesome. So we haven't paid them in like a couple weeks because they've been like getting stuff in. They need the serial numbers, so we're gonna go do that now and hope we don't run out of gas because we're like below E. But it's okay, because if we run out of gas here, they'll give us some gas because we're a good customer. So yeah, I will see you inside of the equipment store. So now we go to Paul B. Moyer, which is like my favorite place ever. It's a new dealer that we've been using, and they're amazing. So Jesse got all this stuff today, right?
Yep. Yeah, then he came back. I hooked him up fixing his chainsaw.
Thank you. Appreciate that. I was like, just YouTube it. And he was like, man, I've never done that before. And I was like, it's fine. It's 2 bolts and a screw. He's like,
yeah, no, it needed a lot of cleaning. Like the bar itself, the way the roller gets in there was all clogged up. So
yeah.
I cleaned it all up.
Thank you. We don't do a lot of like tree work, so like it's just to like cut shrubs down. So it just gets neglected and stuck in the back corner, and then when it's needed, it's like, and they just like in the dirt. It's like, oh, there's a root there. Let me just right in the rocks. Yeah. Oh, did he grab 2 strips as well?
Breads.
Like a box of 2 strips or something.
You didn't get a whole box. You got 2 6 bags.
What? Aren't the boxes cheaper? Like 20% plus cheaper? All of our mowers were broken this morning. We had a 70 randomly. So on the fair, a 72-inch Ferris. The one Toro, somebody hit something and we like had no blades that were like not bent. Like we had no more not bent blades, which is like catastrophic. Like, and like I went in there and there was probably 50 bent blades. No straight blades. So, and then like nobody had blades for that mower. I don't know why, whatever. So we had to go out to like Tanner, Salon to get blades, and the other mower has something else completely wrong with it. So this morning we have like 4 people supposed to mow lawns, and they're all like,
Slater, what am I doing? So on this invoice, you're gonna see full priced, itemized, with a big rebate of $1,033.98. That's 20% on the whole deal. And then I not through, but I put another $200 rebate on there because that was for my father-in-law. That was all paid for. So that's on here, but it's paid for, so I took the $200 off of that.
thank you.
And then just a $30 change for your guy this morning.
Yes.
Tell Pete he owes me a 6-pack next time I'm in the neighborhood.
You should.
I'm on video on that, right?
Okay, put that in there again.
And then I'm giving you a good price. It's it's more than 20%. I just don't have that stuff on my system yet. So I just showed you $2 a pop.
Thank you.
So that's on there. So after tax, it's $4,229.28.
Thank you very much. What's you guys' turnaround time usually for service on stuff?
For you guys, it would be like very quick.
Unless it's something backward.
We try to put landscapers in and out as fast as possible, especially if you buy from us.
Do you guys sell any stand-ons that are 60-inch?
Yeah.
Which ones do you guys? Or I guess you guys can sell the
X-Mark, Toro, Skag.
Skag has 60-inch stand-ons?
Well, I don't know. I know Husqvarna only has 48. I know, and we have Right. We also have.
Oh, you guys sell Right now?
The best way to do anything is fleet. But now you're on Echo. Echo should die. So now to get into like X-Mark or into and
That machine.
So
Bravely, I
is it
think
60s?
you should look
That
in the
thing,
Bravely.
we test ran most of their new stuff. That thing is funny.
Really? And they're getting into like their own dingo machines, like a Toro Dingo would be.
Yeah.
Do you use them?
No, we don't.
You have to have the purpose for those.
I actually almost bought. I was like one signature away from buying one. Like I had everything, got the loan approved, and then I was like, you know what? I hate hardscaping. I was like, we can just. I'd rather have 10 on crews than
you're
have.
Opening up a whole different monster.
Yeah.
At that point,
it's a different business. Because I like this. I like the stand-ons because I think they're just easier for the.
well, depends on what you're doing too. I mean,
what we do, we're mainly smaller. Like I think almost all of our properties are like 1 acre or below. Like we just have
any kind of
nothing too crazy. Sweet. Thank you guys very much.
Thanks, man. For everything, buddy. I appreciate it. Good to see you.
Appreciate you guys. You as well. Enjoy.
Easy.
Thank you. That's our new dealer, Paul B. Moore and Sons. You should check them out, and they're online too. So if you're gonna buy stuff, buy from them. All right, so that was Paul B. Moore. Like I said, you guys should definitely check them out online. They are fantastic people. But yeah, so obviously, like they said, I really got to get on the planning for next year because of the equipment shortages and everything. So I have to look at all of our numbers and see basically how much cash we're projected to make. We've been really profitable this month so far, which has been good. You know, we collected a bunch of cash that we were owed, so I'm excited about that. And then we will be, you know, just planning for, because, you know, right now we have to decide what we're doing next spring for equipment because, you know, we want to keep growing, and you know, we probably need to buy new equipment to do so. And then we want to be starting the second location possibly. That's still something in the works. We do have a couple people. It's all a people thing, right? Like, we just have to have the right people to fill those roles. And like, I don't want to just rush promote somebody to GM because I want somebody to be a GM or because I want to open a new location. I'd rather wait and promote somebody when they're ready. But we do have a couple prospects of people that could be really good. We just need more time with them. Maybe they just need to work here for a little longer. I'm really excited about a couple of our team members. I don't want to rush it too soon, like I said, because if we promote somebody before they're ready, it's just going to end badly, and they're going to not have enough confidence, and also not be able to bid jobs right, because you need to have, you know, experience to bid the jobs. So now we made it to Wawa, and we successfully did not run out of gas. So that is amazing. And I'll talk to you guys after we fuel up. Actually, Shaman called me. Let's make sure he's not broken. Are you okay? Question mark. Just call Jesse if you need anything, period. But that's my newest line to the team, which is call Jesse, because he's the new GM, and I don't want to take his, like, you know, power away, if you will. And I know I can solve a lot of the issues they call me with, but it's about him learning and gaining experience, because when I first started, I was not able to solve all the problems that, like, you know, people are giving me, and he's still in the process of becoming a really, I mean, he's really good at problem solving, don't get me wrong, but like just having it faster and just knowing things, or how to, you know, like, I didn't even realize we could do that, right? It's kind of some of the stuff that he's learning, or, you know, seeing something go wrong and then being like, okay, what happened? Like, let's go back, let's just back up, because that's how you learn. But so Ethan asked a fantastic question, which was, what do you do in the winter? So what it's looking like right now is, right, our team right now is overall is really, really great. Like I was just saying earlier, we have a lot of really great people. We had to do a little bit of a reorganization, to put it nicely, but if you're going to put it in a more blunt way, we had to let go some people that weren't right for the organization. They just didn't fit with our culture, our values, and lots of people wanted to work here long term, so we had to let them go. So right now we have like I said, we have a really great team. We're kind of going to like hibernation mode as far as doing work and revenue, but we go into overdrive mode on the office as far as systems and automations and training stuff, and we're just really going to be setting ourselves up for an explosion year next year. And in order, like, we have to hire like an assistant for the office, probably honestly another full-time player in the office, just to take care of all the phone calls and stuff. We're going to be, like I said, possibly opening that new location. Just depends on where everybody stands. We'll switch over to, like, we'll continue doing cleanups till like the middle of January. Mm-hmm. Like, it's just that right now, where it's like our peak season for cleanups, like, we're doing, I don't know, a ton of cleanups, probably, I don't know, a lot of cleanups every week. A lot of estimates for cleanups, but you know, it'll start to slow down, which is why we start to, you know, obviously have to let people go. But then as we go into like kind of, I want to say probably like mid-December is when we really start to kind of cool off. And then, you know, we kind of pick up again end of December a little bit, because people are having their Christmas parties, they want cleaned up. And then January we're busy for a couple weeks, and then it kind of dies off, and then we're just kind of floating around doing random stuff for customers. Just doing whatever, trying to do maintenance on equipment, trying to get the yard in order for next year. That's something we're going to be definitely focusing on this winter, because our yard is an absolute disaster. Like the container, I'm sure you guys saw at some point, hopefully, is a disaster. I think I did a YouTube short about that a while ago, and like there's just, the trucks are all messy, and like we have to figure that out. So that's kind of what we'll do. Basically, we make shit up to do, and then hopefully it snows, because if it snows, it's not like, I don't like snow. I hate the snow business. I shouldn't say hate, hate's a bad word. I don't love the snow business. Like, I'd prefer if we weren't in it. But for right now, it is something that keeps our teams busy and lets them make a ton of money. And we just really simplified that business down to customers that are really good customers for us. And we're only giving it to either those people or commercial properties. And we're just charging a ton of money for it. And it's like, well, you're expensive. It's like, I don't care. Like, if you want a level of service, use us. And I don't mean that in a bad way. Like, for landscaping stuff, we really want to be competitive. We're a landscape company, right? For snow, it's like, we don't want the business. Like, we don't want to do it. We just want to make a ton of money, let our team make a ton of money. They get $30 an hour, $40 an hour in overtime. to do snow stuff. And sorry, the office phone is ringing. To do snow stuff. So that's why we like snow. Like what the second location might look like next spring. So if, you know, for whatever reason we're not able, like nobody is like a perfect fit for that GM role immediately, what we're going to be doing is going to be expanding the service of this location area out that way. And just, you know, and the reason why we're going to be doing that and like kind of changing our service area here is because it's close enough that we can do that. But then there's enough houses over in that location, or whatever location we pick, there should be enough houses where there's definitely room for a second GM. And the reason why we're doing multiple locations instead of one location, I don't know that this is how we're going to do it, right? Because there is obviously having one big location, right? Like if you look at, it's kind of, if you follow landscaping content stuff, it's like City Turf, which is Jonathan Potoshnik, aka Lawn Care Millionaire. His company is, I think they're like something like $15-20 million out of one location, right? 30% margins, fucking crazy business. Excuse my language, but crazy business, right? Like super interesting. Guy barely does anything to run it too. So like awesome business. But then we've got like, you know, the Augusta model, which is instead of growing the one business, you have multiple locations and you have a GM in each of those locations. And one of the things that, you know, Mike had said a while ago that really stuck with me that I really liked was that if you have almost anybody can be in charge of 3 to 4 people, right? And so that's a really interesting model as far as, you know, okay, cool, we have these people that can work here for like give or take, call it 8 months to 24 months, and then become, if they got everything they need to, become a GM, start their own location, and start with a couple people and learn the skills of management, learn the skills of, you know, of leadership. And then if we on the back end do all the marketing and do all the fulfillment and stuff, it's going to make it really easy for each, you know, location to just grow. And as the GM wants to grow it, right? And they're going to be on something that's like they're going to have a generous compensation package, but something where they get definitely incentivized with profit. So they actually want to grow because, you know, not like they're not just going to be a salaried employee because then there's no, you know, benefit to, I mean, you know, they should grow, whatever, but like there's no benefit to grow. Like what we want them to do is probably keep them hourly, maybe salary if they want, doesn't matter to me. But what does matter is they have a big portion of their compensation every year comes from profit sharing. And what that'll do is allow them to be able to grow the company. If they want to make more money, it's like, hey, I want to make $100,000 a year. Great. You know, at 20% you get 20% profit sharing. Company does, you know, $200,000 or whatever. Company does $50,000. You get to keep $10,000 of it in profit. So, you know, if you grow the company to $1 million company doing 20% margins, that's $200,000 in profit. You get to keep 20% of that, $40,000 plus your base salary of around 50-ish. Like, okay, cool, that's $90,000 a year. You grow the location a little more. And to hit $1 million is not hard, like at a location. And I say that not to be like arrogant, but like if you really think about it, it's 10 people. Like, so yeah, it takes a lot, but if the marketing's taken care of, and especially if we're talking slow growth, right? If we get somebody that wants a career and, you know, they want to be able to work, you know, 40, 50-ish hours a week, be able to just run things, all that, whatever, like over 5 years, they could go from making 50 to 100. And then if they want to keep growing from $1 million to 1.2, like, awesome, more power to them. Like, grow that and then grow the, you know, you're just going to keep making more money, and it's their business. But it's almost their business, but in reality, they are the general manager of a location. And then obviously the hard thing comes in, which is like the actual GM stuff, which is like, okay, well, if you're not doing the role right and you get let go, but you've grown the location, get profit sharing. So it is a little bit hard on that side, but I think that from the standpoint of, like, the reason why I'm okay doing it, right, because it's like, why don't you just have franchisees, is one, like, I just don't want to deal with that, because looking at what franchisors have to deal with, which is like, they know exactly what to do and then nobody does it. It seems painful. And, you know, then you have people that want to have multiple, like, franchise, like, to really make it in the franchise world. I don't want to say this, I don't know enough about it, but what it seems to me like from the outside looking in on any franchise is that you need to get, you know, you need to have at least 100 locations, and then, you know, it's kind of like a money grab, and I don't love that, because I don't think you're providing enough value for the money you're getting, or the money that you're charging. Like, whereas I would much prefer to do something like an e-learning business and teach people how to do what I did and provide them an astronomical amount of value, and that's their thing. So yeah, hopefully that makes sense, and that's why we're choosing to do I guess I didn't really, and the reason why we're choosing to go for the multiple locations as opposed to one large location is, I don't know that if this to be true or not, but I feel is a hard word in business. It seems to me that it would scale easier or seeming, whatever. All those are hard words in business to use because you need numbers and math and stuff to back it up. But if when I think about it, right, I would rather have, it's not even about eggs in one basket or in one market. But if we've got, let's say in 5 years, we've got, 10, 11 locations, that allows us, a lot of different things. But one of the things is, it's like, okay, if one location isn't doing well, we can just replace that GM. Or, whatever it is. I don't mean to say people are expendable like that, because great people are never expendable. But we have, some leeway there. And, we're able to market in different locations. We're able to take one thing and scale it across multiple. And then it allows us to get into new markets. Although route density is crazy important and having a ton of houses in one area is very profitable. I also don't want to get into a ton of different services. Like we've looked into having, even if we started a pest control division, or a pest control or a fertilization division, it doesn't look like right now to me that those would be great investments in time or money, because we could just take that and double down on what we're already good at. And those are totally different businesses. Like, yes, it's the same customer base, and yes, you can get customers for free. But I think that goes back to the girl in the red dress that Alex Ramosi says, right? Which is the way City Turf is doing that crazy stuff is because they're a, fertilization, weed control, they're a pest control, they're a lawn care and bed and bush maintenance kind of company. But the really big high profit services for them, if you look on their website, it says it. You cannot be a mowing or trimming customer unless you sign up for fertilization, weed control, or pest control. And the reason why is because they're not stupid. It's because those services have margin, right? Way more margin. But the thing about those higher margin services is there is licensing, right? There is different insurances, and it's a different level of training for people. And it's just not something that we do right now. And I'm not saying we're never going to get into it, right? Because that would be a really powerful thing to do, which is to get a massive customer base and then add a service, because an easy way to add more profit to the business, but also more headaches. And I think for me, as of right now, if I'm looking at how it can help the most people long term, and this is kind of where I go with it, is, look, most people are stuck in a truck. They can't figure out what to do, right? They see guys that are just talking about it, but most of the people on YouTube, like with the exception of a couple that I've mentioned, they don't have a real business. I mean, they're like lawn care guys that have videos of lawnmowers. They're like, oh, check out this new mower. It's like, yeah, new mowers are cool. I was talking about it earlier. But it's like, that's not the meat and potatoes of the business. The meat and potatoes is the marketing, the customers, the managing, like all this other stuff that we're doing, and nobody talks about it. And what I'm trying to say is that I don't think it's as helpful to people if I built the company that does a massive pest control, fertilization, weed control, because then you're just diversifying too quickly. If I can build a massive company on simple services and then teach other people how to build a massive company based on simple services, like, I will be able to help a ton of people, and in helping people make a crap load of money. And that's the point, right? And it's like, oh, Dean, why are you telling us your plan? It's like, because you're not going to do it. Nobody's going to do it, right? And if you do it, awesome, more power to you. Like, we'll just do it better. Like, I don't mind. So, because I'm willing to put in the work to get to the point where it's, you talk about repetitions, Alex Ramosi says it, right? Like, it's like, how are you so certain? Because I did 4,000 sales calls, right? How are you so certain? Because I grew 10 locations. Like, it's just, that's for me, obviously, but like, if I'm able to do that and then we're able to keep it simple, and then once we're doing that, and if we're like, hey, we've maximized out our locations, then we can teach people, hey, here is how we can, we can teach, let me phrase this correctly. We get to the point where, and honestly, like, here's the thing, it's like all the girl in the red dress, but it's like, when is she attractive enough? And really, it should be never, but like, at some point, it is attractive enough maybe to take it. I don't know. He never really goes that far, but like, let's say we were growing this massive company that's based on just helping people go, like, from owning a location to be able to out of the field, right? And if you look at my life right now, I mean, I'm 3 years, I mean, I say 5, whatever, it is 5 years, whatever. But like, I graduated high school in 2021 in the spring. It's 2022 end of year. So it's been 2 years I've been fully in this business, right? Call it 3 years from when I started it, right? I like really started to grow it my junior year of high school. In 3 years, I literally now, at this point in the business, I could like show up probably, like, I mean, Jesse's still in training, but once Jesse's trained, I could show up 1 day a week. Like, and we could probably, if I didn't want to grow the company anymore, we're going to do about 700 this year. If we call it 20% margins on that, which we're not going to hit this year because we grew a bunch, obviously, and we're like learning stuff still. But next year, if we stayed the same, we could probably go do close to $1 million in revenue. And then 20% margins on that's like 200 grand, give or take. You call it 150 grand, and working 1-2 days a week, just doing marketing and stuff, like, it's not what I want to do, but like, if I can help people get there, which I truly believe I can, like, that would be incredible. So that's kind of the mission and the goal, and it took me 3 years to do it. And I'm not saying that as a flex. I'm not saying that brag to flex. I spend all of my time in the business. I have no kids. I have no other obligations. I think about and do all day is this business, right? Which when you think about that, we should be bigger than this because that's what makes me angry. But not in an angry way, but just in like a why, like how are we not bigger? Because I spend all my time on this. But so that aside, you know, I really wish I really want to help other people do that, but I don't want to help other people yet. Like, yes, I think I could help a ton of people now, but I don't think I can help them enough. Like, I've done it once. I haven't done it enough times, and we're not locked in, and we don't have a track record yet. Like, my goal is that over the next couple of years, to call it 1, 2, 3 years, we can really get all of our systems dialed in. You know, get to the point where we have a regional, like somebody managing the locations, and then somebody managing the stuff that I'm doing, which is like having somebody in charge of like getting sales, somebody in charge of making sales, getting sales, whatever. Somebody in charge of, call it this. A producer, we need a, what are the 3 things you need in a business? You need somebody to hold it together, a producer, and an operations person, right? When we get to the point where we have those 3 people on our team, plus the supporting cast, plus the regional manager of all the GMs, plus the office staff, the office manager, like that's when I feel the business has been, now it's a sellable asset where we can get multiple times revenue. Regardless of how big it is, like whether it's, you know, at 10 million or whether it's at 5 million or whether it's at 15 million at that point, like that's when it's like, okay, this is now a complete package. And then I can have an exit if I wanted to, right? But I do like this business. So I, you know, especially if I'm selling it, I don't know what we're going to do at that point. I don't know where we're going with it, but I definitely, that's years and years down the road from here, or like at least a couple years down the road from here. And that's where we're headed. And we just have to be strategic about it and then get there. And then once we are there, the goal is going to be to help a lot of people, because I think most people just need some guidance and need some pushing, and just to take a leap of faith. And you know, whether it fails or succeeds, you've at least tried something new and tried to make your life better. So we went to Paul B. Moyer earlier, our new the dealer that we've been using, and we spent like $5,000 on stuff, but we got 20% off, so the bill came down from like $5,000 and change to $4,000 and change. So it's exciting stuff, you know.
Did you take the cruise to a job site like you?
No, that's all right. We're not gonna do that till next week if we do it. I'm just like back and forth on how we can fix it, but I think it comes down to training, and like that's what we're gonna be spending a lot of time on this winter, is figuring out how we're gonna train. Ethan's gonna go do some video later today of the cruise working, and hopefully, you know, get videos of what completed stuff should look like, and like what it looks like before and after, and that way we can have the, like, because I feel like the picture like Jesse sent the other day in the group chat of like what, like this bed was cleaned out, and there was leaves everywhere. Like if we had a picture of that after and said, hey, here's a before, here's an after, like it needs to look like this. I don't know. Any other ideas?
No, I don't know how else to fundamentally tell them.
No, and I mean it's tough, right? Because we're also at the kind of the end of the year, and I was talking earlier, like we're almost to the point we have to start telling people like, hey, you know, it's what their last day of the year is going to be. Like employees, because we're slowing down. So like I want to give them at least like a 3 weeks to 6 weeks notice, is the goal. Since mowing's stopping next week, I figured this week's a good week to do it for some people.
So next week's mowing's the last week. So if people ask, I can say that, because I've had several people call. I mean, several people cancel for the year too. But
I would, if somebody tries to cancel for the year, I'd say, hey, you know, here's why we like to do one more week. We like to do it because, you know, it's way better for the lawn. It's like better for the lawns. We like to do it short. It's better for the roots. It'll overwinter better and come back, you know, fuller and faster in the spring. And if you're already paying all this money to have your lawn cut, fertilize, all this stuff, like you're gonna want to cut one more time. Like it's like, unless it, you know, something like that to people, I think is a good way to have them. Like consent and like justify. Like it's like, I just don't want to spend another $50. It's like, well, yeah, but you spend $2,000 a season on your lawn, and you're you know, $5,000 or $7,000 a year on your property. Like $50 to cut it one more time to make it overwinter way better is worth it for them. So that's what I've been kind of saying to people, but I don't know. We'll probably end up cutting one more time. Like like next week, and then maybe like do like half the lawns or something the week after. Like just have the teams go out and look and see if they need another cut or if they're short enough. You know, not that it's like probably just send one person out to just do drive-bys of all the properties. Like stop at like, you know, 30 properties a day or whatever, 40 properties a day, and then just like maybe cut 10 of them. not to like just squeeze more money out, but like some lawns are going to need to be cut more, and it's our job as their lawn provider to do that. And instead of sending Jesse around to look at it, we could just send like, you know, Luke or Thomas or somebody that's been, probably Thomas because he's been doing it longer, but like Thomas around to just go look at properties and be like, this needs to be cut, yes, no, and then cut the ones that are needed. And if it, you know, if a lot need it, we can just do it. So I would just say next week, depending on, you know, like if your lawn's fertilized, it might be another 2 weeks. You know, we'll make that judgment call when we'll have a specially trained team member or something go out there and make the call. Make sense?
Yep.
Awesome. Other questions for me?
Nope.
All right. Sweet. All right. So, Erica, customer service goosebumps right here. Let me read you this article. So this is about Chewy.com, right? And it was the person talking about how it's described for the Amazon for pets. They're talking about this lady named Sherry. And so she bought some food from Pets.com, right? And then her animals passed away like back to back, a cat and a dog. And she called and was like, "Hey, could I return this food? Like, I don't need it." Basically what it said is, instead of being greeted by an irritable customer service rep, she was comforted by one of Chewy's reps that encouraged her to share about her recent loss. A week later, a florist's van pulled into her driveway, delivered a bouquet of flowers with a note from Ashley that expressed her condolences, and attached was a full refund for the invoices. Like, that's customer service. Like, and the thing is,
Big company too.
they're massive. I mean, they're huge. Like,
That's incredible.
and
that they did that.
yeah, and so that's the like that's why Chewy's able to destroy Amazon, because they just beat them on customer service. So people would rather use Chewy, whether they're not, people aren't price shopping, and they have good prices and fast
I mean, for
delivery.
Pet stuff.
Yeah. Well, but like, because Amazon should win. Amazon should be beating them. Like, not should be, but like theoretically, right?
Yeah.
But they just
I would never even think to go to Amazon for pet stuff. I would go right to Chewy, which is probably what most people do. Like, I'll
Yeah.
go to Amazon for other stuff, but not for like dog
yeah.
stuff.
So they're an they're an
That's incredible.
$8.9 billion company as of 2021
Chewy.com. They're not even that old.
in revenue. $8.1 billion
They
in
haven't
revenue.
even been around that long, I think. Maybe less than 10 years?
I don't know how profitable they are. I mean, it says that year they lost whatever, 73 million. But like, the thing, I mean, they're a whatever, a traded company, doesn't matter for them. But like, I just think it's incredible, like having that level of service, and not that but like we are competing with that, right? Like if we can, like here's the thing, right? And this is the crazy thing I think about. I've been thinking about a ton lately, right? Is what if every customer we got, and this is from Alex Ramosi, a guy I really like, but it's like, what if every customer we got never left? Like, imagine how big a company we would be. Even now, we'd be doing $2 million a year if every customer that ever came through our doors, until they either moved or died, was still paying us for some service, something, because we provided so much value or whatever. Like, you couldn't not be a massive company. In general, it's a really cool idea of like just having such a crazy high level of customer service that we can, you know, that like, people are like, I would never use another landscaper. I would never price shop them. Like, it just doesn't, like, and that's part of just having estimates be because I think one of the things too that we fall into sometimes is an estimate is like way overbid, and then a customer says no, and then they use somebody else, and they don't like them more because we're pretty good, but like now they have a landscaper and a lawn mowing people, and we want to be both. Like, we have them as a customer, we do those services, like, and I think that's something we haven't done a really good job of capitalizing on, is like, you know, we've got tons of customers that use us for lawn mowing, tons of customers that use us for landscaping, and they're not using us for both, or people have tried our landscaping services and have been like, meh, or people have tried our mowing services and been like, meh. So like, they're like lukewarm about it instead of being like ecstatic. And I think that a lot of that goes back to, I mean, I think first and foremost, it goes back to training, right? Like, honestly, we'd be a massive company if we just did the simple shit. Like, if we just did the jobs how we said we were going to do them, when we said we would do them, like, you know, we'd be massive. But because we keep making these stupid, simple mistakes, we in the field don't have the right training systems, don't have the right accountability systems, we're making these simple mistakes that are costing us, you know, thousands and thousands of dollars
Send people back
to fix it. And then also hundreds of thousands of dollars in future revenue because they either didn't refer us or they're not going to use us again. I think that our training is fine, but it's not good. And I think if we made our training like a lot better, we would have almost no service calls. On properties, you know, I think that having the that little form when they're done they fill out that says they're finished everything might help. At the same time, customers feel stupid if they come outside and they're like, hey, we're done, or we're finishing up, what do you think? And they're like, there's still leaves everywhere. So like we definitely have to have the training as well. You know, because we tend to have, I was talking about this earlier at the dealer, like we do have a decent amount of turnover, not always bad turnover, right? But like people just leaving and doing other things. Like we need to be able to train new people quickly. So I think putting together some training videos, we have a lot of like literature on it, but I think, and then doing like maybe just like, it's a massive, massive payroll investment, but like doing a training day. But I think maybe just having a formal training day next spring, like being like, all right, cool, everybody's starting on this day, and just being like, because that's, I mean, payroll wise, I don't know where my phone is, that's a massive number. Like it's like a $4,000 in training we're investing, sunk.
Plus, you're taking away from.
Well, plus lost revenue, right? So it's like it's a massive number.
Yeah.
But if that, you know, if that makes it so all season everybody's good, it's probably worth it. Like I've been thinking a lot about what our expansion looks like next spring, and I don't want to add any landscaping, I don't think, next year. Like we're not going to add any trucks for landscaping. Because if like, you know,
Our goal is to add lawns.
our goal is to add a ton of lawns, and I don't even think it's worth it to do fertilization next spring. It's a whole different business. So like it's different, you know, licenses, different chemicals, different equipment. And then we have one highly specialized person, and if that person leaves, we're screwed. Because I'm not doing the applications. I don't know how to do them, and two, it's not a good use of my time to applicate. And then we're like subbing it out to a company that's lesser, and then, you know, it leaves a bad taste in our customer's mouth. So until we can hire a couple, you know, techs, I don't think it's worth it. It is something else that's on my to-do list as a big item, but like it's a big item as well as being an important item, is partnering with other service companies, right? Because we get all these requests for different services, and partnering,
Like Monster Tree Service.
like setting up like an affiliate with them. Like, hey, we'll send you customers. Like every customer we send, you know, could we get a kickback or whatever it is? Like however that's gonna work.
I've sent a couple to them this week.
Mm-hmm. I think that if we play our cards right next year, we can have less issues per 100 customers per week. Like if that, like I don't know if that's a metric or whatever the metric is. Like less issues, like the same,
Less callbacks.
like less callbacks and less, you know, problems if we just, like I think it just comes back to training. Like I think it all just comes back to training and people, right?
I mean, a lot of it does.
Yeah, my blunders in July costing us all the way till now, which is just, you know.
You learn what works and what
I mean, hey, it gave us a very good direction, and I think next year it gave us a really good direction, and I think that one of the things that's cool, right, is now that I'm not needed I'm needed day to day, right, in the business, but like I'm not
as much.
like, you know, if we're looking at like next spring, I might be needed even less, and then that lets me, like, I don't know if I do, like the whole thing is like, don't think you're smarter than you are, which is another quote of that guy Alex Ramosi, is like, being advanced is just doing the basics for a long period of time and not convincing yourself that you're smarter than you actually are, or something like that. And like, but if I can, like, I tend to break things. Like, I'm like, oh, this system's not perfect, let me break it and make it better. It's like, why don't we just leave it because it's working?
Yeah.
So like, if
broke, don't fix it.
yeah, like you know, we can make stuff better, but it's like, is it at what cost?
Yeah.
Like, and actually weighing a cost benefit, like, hey, changing all the automations, like, because they're going to be all messed up for a couple weeks till we work out all the bugs. Like, is that actually worth changing, or is it better to just leave it and then, like, and then we can do something like that later, like, you know, doing that whole cost benefit, which we haven't done, like, which I haven't been doing, which is fine. Like, we've been fine, but like, and then I could focus on, like, you know, actually growing the company, or the new locations, or like focusing on that stuff, and just on actually scaling the company, as long as the day-to-day is covered. Like, if we're making money on the day-to-day and I'm not here, like, which is what's going to happen next year, it's like, okay, cool, I can then really focus on scaling and focus on adding new locations and training people and working with the human element of it. You know, and I could even be the GM of the New Hope location or something, like whatever, like as an interim, or like, you know, help out with that. So next year we're definitely going to be doing something. I don't know what. Like, and the reason I say that is because it might not be early, like I was just talking about this in the car, like it might not be early spring, it might be kind of a late spring, early summer open up, or just expanding the service area of here for a short period. Like, you know, we could expand the service location of Full Circle Doylestown into, I mean, Newtown would be a stretch, but like at least New Hope or something, and then just just sever it and then put another GM there down the road. And then, or we could add, but I'm liking the idea of Newtown more and more and more. You know, if we could open up there, And I think we could slice it up because I don't think then I don't think the competition there is crazy. All right, let me give you a quick reenactment of what just happened. Pulled up our transactions, saw an unfavorable one, and went, motherfucker! What the problem is Sunbelt Rentals charged us for a full day rental when it was clearly a half day. So now I have to explain to them that they're wrong.
Sunbelt Rental, can I help you?
What's up? It's Dean from Full Circle. How are you?
Good. What's happening?
Not much. I was going through our transactions and saw that you guys charged us for a full day rental.
We did when?
15th. And it should have been a half day.
You have a contract number by chance? I gotta get my manager to do it. I can't open close contracts. Nobody can but him.
Who's your manager? Is it?
It's Moon. No, yeah.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay, yeah.
He'll be back about 2:30 when he gives the call.
Yeah, if you guys, if you could just make a note, like, I don't know what the time, I know that I don't, like, because our guy got there earlier in the morning, but there's no way, he didn't leave Sunbelt, like, maybe when he got the contract signed, but he was there for like an hour. So, I don't know if that played into it or something, or if he was just over the time, but, like, I'm pretty, like,
I can't even see it until he finds it and opens it. I mean, like I said, he'd be the one to do it. If I could do it, I'd do it for him.
Oh, yeah. Are you able to just make a note and have him take a look? Because I just, I'm not going to be around this afternoon.
Okay, it was for the 15th?
Yeah, for the 15th, it was a skid steer and a trailer, $615.61 was the total bill.
Remember the rental. Skid steer, trailer.
Yeah,
Okay, I'll make sure about it.
Thank you. We rented it to move. It was, by the way. Also, do we get a discount because we got a skid steer without a door?
No, I don't.
I'm kidding. I don't need that. I just.
He just took this in a set of forks, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was literally that, a set of forks and a trailer, and I think we got it out probably at like 8:30 and returned it by like 12:30ish.
Okay, I will have him pull it up.
Like, and we literally used it for like we didn't even fill it back up with diesel because we only probably used like a quarter. Like, it was on. We drove it off the trailer, loaded 3 pallets, turned it off, dropped the pallets off, and put it back on the trailer. Like, we like literally was like.
No problem.
So yeah.
Like I said, I'll have him look at it.
Thank you. I appreciate you,
Okay,
Kenny.
buddy. Take
See ya.
care.
Although my aggression came out when I saw the bill, always be kind. I bring those guys donuts. They're gonna fix the bill. I bring the donuts once every couple weeks. So therefore, the bill gets fixed. Easy. Bring your suppliers donuts. Hello, this is Dean. How can I help you?
Dean,
Oh, why couldn't somebody else call? Man.
well, because I'm the coolest one here. That's why.
I won't argue with you on that.
Hold on just a second. Okay, so here's the deal. All right? You ready? It's partially your fault. It's partially our fault. So here's what's going to happen. You're going to get credited back and only charged for a half day. It is 4 hours for a half day rate, not 6 or 7, okay?
I really appreciate that, but what time was it out?
It went out at 7:47, and he came back well after 1 o'clock because everybody here was back from lunch already.
Huh. Well,
so
first
not sure
thing,
exactly what time it was, and that's where it's also our fault because he didn't come in, so we didn't close him out. So really, I mean, at the end of the day, it's kind of all his fault for not coming in, but we're not going to dick it out like that.
well, first off, really appreciate that. See, this is why I like you. Sometimes, other times I'm kidding. No, but thank you for real. And then I think the other thing too was like, he didn't actually get on site till like, it was like 8:30 or 8:45. Like he was in the yard for, not that, I don't know if that counts as part of the rental time, but because he had to pick up the trailer and everything and get the different hit, whatever it was.
Yeah.
But I really appreciate you guys doing that for us.
No problem. Just make sure they know, like, it is 4 hours from when they leave, so it got adjusted for, like, from when he left the yard.
No, it did. That was adjusted.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
How do you guys do that? If you don't mind me asking, I'm just curious.
So usually they'll come in and be like, "Hey, I've been sitting out here forever, and is my time it's gonna affect my time?" And blah blah blah. So then we change it.
No, all good. All right, cool.
Yeah.
Thank you. And then I guess I really owe you that hat now.
When Greg gets back, he will. I can't do like the processing or whatever, but when he gets back, he will credit you back for a half day.
Thank you. And
No problem.
really appreciate that. I definitely owe you guys hats now. I'll have I don't know if I can, like I keep trying to, but like it just keeps getting messed up. But he has the hats in the estimate car he drives around in. So I'm gonna shoot him a text and make sure he stops out with dude, the new hats are super warm actually. Like they're fleece coated on the inside. Yeah. They're like the knitted and then the fleece coat, dude. Nice. They're like perfect.
Man, I'm pumped. I'll rock that around all winter.
Awesome. You're the man. Thank you. I appreciate you.
Have a good one.
You too. See ya.
Bye-bye.
Unexpected challenge for me so far is definitely learning how to be able to kind of balance everything. So if I have a full day of estimates, and then I also have to worry about the team, obviously, and how I can make sure I can help them out. So being able to balance having a full day of estimates and also dealing with whatever comes up out in the field and how I can help the team has been definitely challenging. But it's worked out so far. So today, for example, I had some estimates to do this morning, and something happened with the chainsaw on one of the jobs that the guys were working on. So I had to stop everything I was doing basically and go pick up the chainsaw, go get it fixed, and then take it back to them as well. That's definitely been challenging. Trying to get everything done in the 10 hours that we're here. So picking up on how to do the scheduling for the teams has been a headache in and of itself. But Dean's doing a good job showing me how to do that. Dealing with the customers so far haven't been bad. Like the customers with the complaints, they've had valid complaints, and we would go back and fix them. Sometimes we'd have to go back a third time, at least for this week. But everybody that I've talked to, I feel like I'm pretty good and have good experience with talking to people, especially upset customers, but our clients. The majority of the individuals I went back to that weren't happy about something have been pretty calm. One guy was laughing about it. So that's definitely a challenge I feel like I'm going to eventually deal with, because somebody's going to come at me pretty crazy, I'm sure. That's pretty much it so far.
Is there something that you thought would be challenging that you've found is much easier than you were expecting?
No.
No?
Definitely not.
Mm.
Nothing has been easy.
Mm-hmm.
No, nothing's been easy. It's definitely just, but it's okay though, because I like challenges. Like I've always, every job I've been in, I've wanted to be able to move up and just learn. And this was a challenge in and of itself, kind of coming here and doing landscaping, because it's something I've never done before. But so I always look forward to challenges, but yeah, nothing easy.